Hey, you guys, it's your girl, my Asia I May. Welcome back to Crown and Posh. And y'all, I know you've seen it on YouTube. It's all over the place. Carlos King and his shady business practices. Ciao. Candy went on House of Aaron, which he conducted an excellent interview. And they got into the mess. Now, before we get into the mess, make sure y'all subscribe to the channel, like this video, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I upload content. Now, let's talk about it, honey. So, Candy did the interview. Candy spilled the tea, the real reason behind the breakdown of her and Carlos' relationship. Everybody thought it was the Phaedra Parks situation, but come to find out it's not. Carlos did some sneaky, dirty dog, underhanded mess. Tried to pitch, or I believe he successfully pitched Candy's or Escape's life story to TV One behind Candy's back without her knowledge. You know, Candy voice crackled. She kind of broke down a little bit about it, which you can tell she was really hurt and still hurt by it. You know what I mean? And it took a while. Carlos King finally responded. Carlos King posted something on Instagram. Basically, he tried to pull a Melody Cherie with the, no weapon formed against me shall prosper type of thing, the I'm above this type of stuff and the devil's attacking him. No, Carlos. You're not Melody Cherie. And no. We're not here for it. We're not going for it. I think, Mellow Meters fans, viewers kind of was already side-eyeing Carlos. He has this spirit within him, this energy with him of kind of being sneaky. And I don't know if is it because he brands himself to be so messy and he self-proclaims he's messy and that he loves it, but you have that sneakiness also attached to that. So fans been looking at you crazy because we didn't like how you were doing Melody in prior seasons, especially when it came to the reunion, where it felt like you just sat back and you didn't have opinion about everybody attacking her. And you seemed to constantly want to be under Martell or be in Martell's good graces up until Martell got exposed. You know what I mean? So I want to know how y'all feel about Carlos. Did this revelation that Candy spilled, did that make y'all look at him even more different? Or did it confirm what you already knew or was already thinking in reference to how Carlos get down? And do you guys think that Melody should be watching her back? Does she have anything she should be concerned about? Me personally, I think Melody knows the industry that she in. I believe that Melody is hip to game and that Melody plays the game well. I do feel like Melody keeps it business professional, even though we're talking about personal lives. At the same time, I think Melody knows what she's doing. I think she knows that Carlos has the capability of snaking her or, doing things behind her back. And I think that if it came down to it, she would be prepared because, Melody has a production company as well. And Melody is in certain circles. And not to say that she has more connections and relationships now with Carlos, but she is proving herself. And I'm positive, based on what we see with our own eyes, that Melody has her own relationship separate with OWN. So before we get into the interview Carlos did the other day with Melody Cherie, this was from his podcast. And his podcast is Reality with the King. I know it's on Apple iTunes, and I have Spotify, so that's where I listen to it at. But Carlos seems to, I won't want to say pouting up to Melody, but he's sending a message to the fans because, like I said before, the fans, viewers, Melometers, they were questioning Carlos's actions and the way he was moving in reference to Love and Marriage Huntsville and what the cast and Martell has been and continues to do to Melody. Now, yes, it is entertainment still, but at the end of the day, there were certain things that happened, like with this Miss Wanda thing, like with Martell, where he needed to step in. He, meaning Carlos, needed to step in. And like I said, you don't see him all chummy with Martell anymore. And now he's taking a stand and reminding everybody that, Melody did start this. And Melody work ethic has always been top-notch, classy, and professional. Always been a boss babe. And he's confirming his love for Melody, where it seemed like he was trying to, I don't want to say like ignore Melody, but I will say it did, the vibe, the energy sometimes in prior interviews and prior interactions, it did seem like even the compliments that they gave to each other was just to make nice. But again, we don't know. They go on these public platforms and, clarify things for us that we may be thinking or feeling. But at the same time, we're not stupid. Very intelligent. We know the game and how it goes. And I think Melody does too. That's why I'm not worried about him backstabbing her, because I think Melody is prepared for a situation like that to happen. And that we see her forging these different relationships with Hollywood elites, with popular people that we know and don't know that is up there in the game, in the fashion world, in entertainment world. So just in case she got to disconnect from Carlos, she ain't gonna have no problem, because Love and Marriage Huntsville is really Melody Cherie's and Martell Holtz. But it really is Melody Cherie's, if y'all know what I mean. But I digress. Y'all know this is a juicy one here. Then I seen, and I was scrolling and I didn't get into it yet. Then I seen Memphis. And y'all know who Memphis is. He is a music producer that K. Michelle said, and I'm just putting in air quotes, allegedly, whooped her out, beat her up, an abuser. And now he's saying that, and he's denied it all this time, all these years. This was years ago on Love and Hip Hop Atlanta. And now he's coming forward, and now he's saying Carlos King got K. Michelle to come up with that story about him abusing her. So I don't know, y'all, what's going on with Carlos King. What are y'all thoughts? We got to get down in the comments today, y'all, and let's talk about it. Because the main thing is, should Melody Cherie be concerned? Should she be watching her back? And y'all already know my stance on it. So we're going to get into the interview, and then we're going to get down in the comments and talk about it.
Is my girl, Melody Cherie, from Love and Marriage Huntsville. As you all have been seeing on social media, a lot has been happening with Melody and her ex-husband Martell. So we get into a little bit of that, in addition to how she found out that Martell was dating Sheree Whitfield from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But we also get into a very deep conversation about Melody being a force multiplier, how when I first met her, I knew she was a star, honey, and what you all can expect from this season of Love and Marriage Huntsville. Without further ado, get into my conversation with Melody Cherie. So today I have a very special guest. She is always booked and busy. She is one of the stars of our favorite show, Love and Marriage Huntsville. She also is an R&B singer. She is an entrepreneur. She is a CEO. She is in the beauty business. She is one of my favorite people in the world. I've known her for so many years, and I am happy to report she has not changed. She is still the same woman I met in the hotel lobby 8 years ago. And she is winning in life. And to my straight male listener, she's also single. I'm talking about Melody, the force multiplier, Melody Cherie.
What's up, Carlo? Thank you very much.
Melody.
Had to pause that real quick on y'all. Yes, give Melody all her flowers. We are celebrating Melody Cherie while she's here with us, okay? The ultimate boss babe. You could never, Tisha. You can never, Destiny. You can never. Who else wanted with Big Mel? Money making Mel. Marceau, you can never. Who else was throwing subliminals and being shady with it? Maurice, aka Mighty Mouse Head. Shout out to Erica De Niro. I got that from her. She's calling him Mighty Mouse Head. Look, I can't. But yes, give the queen her flowers and accolades. She's earned it.
Talk about the first day we met.
Okay.
So back in the day, guys, I was living in Atlanta, and I am somebody who understands that there's so many great people in the world that you sometimes just don't walk up at the cafeteria or at the gas station and just meet them, or even during a casting call. So long story short, I had this consulting side of the business to where people would come, pay a fee, and pitch a show idea. Long story short, this beautiful blonde woman with a short Halle Berry cut and a Gucci dress emerged from the lobby at a hotel. Get your mind out the gutter. Her husband was there too. And to have this meeting, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, it was love at first sight. I was like, this woman is a star and I need to get into business with her. I fell in love with you instantly, Melody, and whenever I meet people who want to be on reality television, I always give them the Melody effect. And what that means, my listeners, is Melody was herself. She was not trying to be anyone else but her. And that's what I fell in love with. And that's the reason why I left that hour-long conversation in the lobby and said, I am going to be working with this woman one day in a big capacity.
Yeah.
But tell the listeners, Melody, about that meeting from your perspective.
Well, first, Carlos, I have to say thank you so much for those kind words. I really, really appreciate it. Even though I've heard you say it multiple times, I just want you to know, every time I hear it, okay, I am very thankful and just so thankful for the friendship and relationship we've been able to build from all those years ago, and then look where we are now, right? But I remember, meeting with you in the lobby. I'll be honest, at first I was nervous because I never had a consultation with a producer before. So I didn't know what that was going to be like, right? But I remember your smile. It was so big and bright, just like now, big and bright and just welcoming. You know what I mean? So I didn't feel shy, nervous, intimidated, any of that. So when you talk about me being myself, you set the stage for me to, feel comfortable talking to you and opening up and being myself and sharing, this idea that Martell and I had in terms of a reality show in Huntsville, Alabama. But I remember sitting with you, having a treatment prepared, sharing with you the idea and what we thought a show would be like coming from Huntsville. And I remember at the time you were like, let me ask you this. What you think about being on Real Housewives, right? I remember you asking that. And then my husband at the time was like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose my wife. Right? Because at the time, everybody, it seemed on Housewives were going through stuff or getting a divorce. And so I remember walking away from that meeting and feeling good, feeling like something is going to happen. Something is going to come from this. And now here we have Love and Marriage Huntsville on the Oprah Winfrey Network.
No, and the rest is history. And what I want my listeners to know, and I thank you too for that compliment, Melody, is the fact that
y'all, Carlos is another one. I can't listen to his voice for too long, like Tisha's. Like, I just can't do it for too long. So I will be fast forwarding through this interview, y'all. Just to let y'all know, had to get a little disclaimer, because aside from the snaking, I like Carlos. I did like him, I don't have no problems with Carlos, but I can't take his voice for too much. Just wanted to check in just to let y'all know that.
I did not feel like Carlos. I remember when you said, oh my gosh, I want to work with you guys. I'm going to send you a contract. I want to get you a show. I remember that phone call, And for me, I think because if you've been someone who'd been non-responsive when, in the texting, I might have felt like, oh, whatever, he's full of it. But you always responded. You know what I mean? You always responded when I communicated things with you, shared with you how Huntsville as a city was growing and moving up. You were always responsive. So because of that, that built a certain level of kind of trust, a great level of communication. So then when you communicated to me, hey, I want to work with you, I felt like that was real, And so I was like, oh, shoot. You know what I'm saying? Oh, shoot. Even after that.
And I'm going to cut in here, guys, because I feel like Carlos, tries to co-shine with Melody. And I say co-shine like shining because a lot of times when I see advertisement and stuff, of course the cast is on it, but he tries to be, he's on it as well. Like a lot of it is the face when you see OWN and things like that. But the real creator here is Melody. Carlos brought it to aid it in bringing it to life for her because the cast puts in work. They do their part, right? Even though we critique it and we know they can do better, or we can get other casts that can do better. Melody, this is really her baby. Carlos was a middleman. He's an aide. He's the background. He's production. But the real creator here is Melody. Martell too. He was just the background. You were there to support your wife's dream because Melody's the one who came up with everything. Melody pitched the idea. Melody put the things together to present to Carlos. Martell was just there for the ride, there to support his wife. So I just want to make sure that's made very clear. This is the coleslaw too, because she's always getting herself up here talking about something. Oh, they're famous because of me. I made the show. No, they're telling you right here what the show was about, what was the purpose of Melody trying to get the show off the ground. Had nothing to do with you. Delusional little girl. Nothing to do with you, okay? So I want you to stop saying that because you look stupid every time you say that. And what we going to do if she get herself up there on Beyonce's internet and make a fool out of herself like she regularly does? We're going to drag her. Because I'm tired of her trout mouth too. Always trying to pop up.
there was still a process, not very long, but a few months, where it was still a process of shopping and all of that. So I will tell anyone who's interested in getting into television, particularly reality TV, you have to just trust God's timing. And you have to know that whenever it's time for whatever your creative idea is to happen, it's going to happen. And things don't happen overnight. Like Carlos said, you have to be patient. That still does mean being consistent and persistent, but also being patient. So I didn't just meet with him, sit back for years and not reach out to him at all and just feel like, oh, well, when it's meant to be, it'll fall in my lap. No, I stayed in contact with him, sending him pictures and information and putting in my part that I could as a work. We even created a sizzle reel, Carlos. I don't know if you remember.
I do.
We even paid videographers and created a sizzle reel. So we still were working as we were still patiently waiting to hear from you.
Oh, 100%. And the thing about this podcast is, yes, we spill the tea and get tea and all that stuff. But this podcast is really an inspiration, not just for fans of reality TV, but also people who just want to excel in life. And one thing I know about this generation that we're in, a lot of them, not all, so don't read me on Twitter, but...
I'm going to cut in again. Carlos, that statement applies to Melody, not you. You're just strictly with the mess with the tea. Melody's out here inspiring people, motivating people, not you. I just want to make sure we have that clear.
A lot of people nowadays, Melody, they want it now and they want it fast. And you were patient because you and I both knew that God's timing overhauls everything.
Absolutely.
I had to leave the Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I tell people this all the time. There will be no Love and Marriage Huntsville for two reasons. A, obviously, if I never met Melody and Martell. But also, B, I had to leave that big show that took so much of my time. I had to move to Atlanta to... Did you know that it would one day be the number one unscripted show on Oprah's network?
Not at all. I did not. I had no idea. Because a lot of times it takes viewers a while to get into a new show, right? I feel like Carlos with Love and Marriage Huntsville, it came out the gate just like boom. You know what I mean? So I wasn't expecting, especially that quickly, for us to be a number one show, But I think that what the viewers loved was they loved the transparency and the authenticity and seeing real life happening on the screens and on the television that's not scripted. We can watch movies all day and those are roles, right? And we may relate to them. But whenever you're seeing reality TV, real people, their real lives, and you're like, wait a minute, I've been through that. Or, hey, I know somebody who's going through that right now. Wait, my sister going through this right now. Let me watch this show. You know what I'm saying? And so it went through like a wildfire, I think. And viewers, once they got into it, they couldn't stop.
No, it is so true because I produced and created shows before Love and Marriage Huntsville. And like you said, sometimes it takes a minute for a show to hit. Honest Melody, a lot of people in the Black community have said, well, he's a good father. Well, at the end of the day, he didn't mean it and she should give him another chance. And one thing that I'm going to be very honest because I don't lie, Melody can tell you, I even have had moments with Melody and say, girl, take him back. I miss y'all together. And she said, Carlos, if you don't get my phone. So I understand it. Do you think a lot of it is because in the Black community, especially when you're in the South, and I'm not going to talk about the things I've witnessed in my earlier years growing up in Detroit, a lot of women have stayed when their man has cheated or is still cheating because a lot of women feel in our community, at the end of the day, it's better to know the devil you're in bed with versus a new devil. And what that means to my listeners is a lot of women stay in marriages where they know their man is cheating because they feel like, why would I leave him to risk dating or marrying another man who's going to do the same thing to me? Was that?
And he's right, but the women today in our community is not going for it, okay? Especially my age group, the millennials. We're not going for it, okay? We're divesting, if anything. But we can do without it, child. I'm focused on my paper, getting to the bag, being the boss, leaving some type of wealth for my son. We not worry about these ninjas, these cheating ninjas who can't control their selfish men. We're not doing that in 2022, and definitely not in 2023. We're being bosses and we're getting into the bag. And if we decide we're ready for some love and affection, we're going to be selective. Okay?
I would say is when you talk about taking a risk, right? I would say instead of doing that, maybe I would want to bet on myself on finding someone or someone finding me who does treat me the way they should treat me and who doesn't do all the cheating and all the bull crap, right? At the end of the day, it is still a chance and a risk, so to speak, that you're taking. So sometimes you just got to be willing to bet on yourself. And guess what? For me, in my situation, I got to a place where, you know my song, Telltale Signs. I said, I'd rather be alone because you've got issues. That's what I meant. I'd rather be alone than settle. See, that wouldn't sit well with me going to sleep every night, knowing that this joker is out here doing this, that, and the other, because it goes back to your self-worth and what you think about yourself. I think that's something that we have to work on also in the Black community. Self-love, self-respect. What do you think you're worth? What do you think you're worth? Is that all you think of yourself? And so I literally, after leaving the marriage, worked on, hey, let me make sure that I love me to a point where I never sit in a situation like this again when I probably should have been left. You know what I'm saying? And so that goes back to learning yourself, spending time with yourself, facing any abandonment issues that you may have, which a lot of times people are suffering from abandonment issues where they've grown up. Women have grown up with their father maybe not being present in their life, so they're afraid of being alone. They're afraid of being without a man in their life, so they settle for any and everything. When it comes to that, it's a different timing for everyone. May God bless people on their journey who are in situations like that. I get DMs all the time from women who are like, you have inspired me. You've given me strength. I'm about to leave my 13-year marriage. I'm about to leave this 20-year marriage. And so I never thought or imagined that me publicly going through humiliation, going through depression, divorce, that it would lead to just encouraging and inspiring so many women eventually to choose self. So that's when it becomes for me what I call purpose work, because it's bigger than me and it's bigger than just being on a TV show. And I think that's why I have so many supporters and why I have been able to connect to so many people.
You connect with people through the television screen because you're so authentic and you're so honest. And one thing I want to share with people is this show is not fake.
Carlos, bye. No, she connects with people because who she is, her personality, her struggles, and her triumphs. That's why she connects to people, because many Black women share her story or can relate in some form or aspect, if not all forms and aspects. You know what I mean? That's what attracted me to Melody, as far as me liking her for who she is. Because, honey, there's a few bloggers who don't see it for Melody. And I don't really, get mad at their opinion, because that's their opinion. They have the right. We live in a wonderful country where we have freedom of speech and expression. But I would say I do look at them sideways, because what that woman has been through, most would fold. Most would have stayed. Most would have went back. Like I said, People are attracted to Melody because the good outweighs the bad, and there's no such thing as a all good or perfect person. You best to believe, if not in the present, maybe in their past, if not in their past or even in their future, they done did something bad or thought bad or spoke bad. Anything. No one is perfect. So when people have issues with Melody or don't like her, I really do side-eye them. But like the old folks used to say, child, they talked about Jesus. Why do you think you any different? Y'all, I'm just giving y'all a little snippet of that interview that she did with Carlos King. It was good. It was a lot like the other interviews Melody gives, her personality shining through the interview, her being so accomplished, her triumph through a very traumatic situation. And Melody has said the same thing in every interview. And people will always feel it because it's so relatable and you can tell she's being real. That's why it never switches up, because it's an authentic story. And we appreciate that. So once again, we want to give Mel her flowers. What do you guys think about the clip of the interview that I gave? And do know, if you want to listen to the rest of the interview, again, that's Carlos' podcast, Reality with the King. The title of it is Melody is Moving On. We know she's not dating now. She has dated. She's working on self. She's enjoying the single life. She says that on all her interviews, because that was really the only other juicy part that I left out was, we're anxious to know. So Mel, go ahead and drop that spinoff of your life with just you on it. I mean, you got a few friends here and there, some real friends. And y'all, I'm struggling to get y'all that Love and Marriage Huntsville review, because the episode to me was really dry. I'm really struggling to get that review out to you guys. But anyways, what do y'all think about this interview? What do you think about Carlos King and everything that's coming out about him? Carlos King is exposed, baby. And should Melody watch her back from now on? Get down in the comments and let's talk about it, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and of course, hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time I upload content. Oh my goodness, today is a day, you guys. Into the next video. I'll see you guys soon.